are any impacts to service, but there are none. Just as the Chancellor said, the school system is operating fully, so is the MTA transit system without disruptions caused by the earthquake. I want to thank Mayor Adams, your entire team, and also Governor Hochul, with whom I've been in touch, for their leadership throughout this challenging moment for the city and the region. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Finally, we'll hear from Manny Castro from the Mayor's Office of Immigrant Affairs for a few words in Spanish.
Muy buenas tardes, soy Manuel Castro, el comisionado de Asuntos de los Inmigrantes de la Ciudad de Nueva York. Hoy estamos con el alcalde Eric Adams, los comisionados de varios departamentos de gobierno de la Ciudad de Nueva York, para asegurar a los neoyorquinos que no estamos viendo ningún problema en nuestros servicios, ya sea de puentes, de escuelas y otros servicios críticos dentro de la Ciudad de Nueva York. Reconocemos que hay ansiedad sobre el temblor que experienciamos esta mañana, pero por el momento no hay nada que reportar. Seguimos con nuestra vida diaria, pero reconocemos que hay temor de que sentimos otro temblor, y si ese es el caso, tomar cobertura, seguir las recomendaciones durante los temblores y tener la calma, porque eso es lo importante en estos momentos. Muchísimas gracias.
Over to a few questions.
Mayor, first of all, did you personally feel the earthquake? And if so, can you describe it? And then I have a quick question for Commissioner Otto.
No, I did not. I was at Gracie Mansion at the Youth Gun Summit, and I didn't feel it. My security detail brought it to my attention.
Commissioner Otto was talking about downstream effects, but maybe things that people don't notice right away. Do you have any calls from any of the buildings in the city? A broken mirror, a crack, something that you wouldn't describe as major damage, but as evidence of the earthquake?
Yeah, as of 30 minutes ago when I arrived here, we had seen no reports coming in, but we obviously will monitor and will respond accordingly.
Commissioner Kavanaugh, say a little bit more.
Yeah, we're also monitoring 911 calls for the same thing, often to be referred to our agency partners if they are not major but still important. And we've seen a very, very minor increase. We've got about 30 additional calls than when we would typically get on a Friday, and none of them were for major incidents. We will monitor for the rest of the day, of course. We will refer them as needed and make sure that anything, and I'd like to reiterate what Con Ed said, especially odors of gas, is referred accordingly to make sure that the infrastructure is safe.
How are you?
What's happening?
Could you walk us through what the process is of inspecting all the bridges, as well as the tunnels in the subway system right now? What is the process?
Kathy Sheridan, you're going? Kathy? Sure. Come on up. Sure. Want to talk about the bridges?
Sure. So good afternoon. I'm Kathy Sheridan, president of MPA Bridges. So we go out and do preliminary inspections. They were dispatched within about 5 minutes of the earthquake occurring. All the preliminary results came back negative, no impacts to our facilities. We have also mobilized all of our structural inspection teams, which do our biennial inspections on a regular basis. So they are now out on the ground. We expect to have results from them by 4 p.m. But again, we don't expect an earthquake of this magnitude to have any impact on our facilities.
Oh, I'm sorry, could you just, with the tunnels and the subways, what's the process for inspecting all those?
So for the subway, I won't talk about the subways. I'll let the chair talk about that. For our two tunnels, the Hugh Carey Tunnel and the Queens Midtown Tunnel, tunnels are very resilient for seismic impacts, so they move with the ground. So again, it's a hands-on inspection. We go and do visual inspection to see if there are any damages.
Yeah, and it's exactly the same in the subway system. There's we have folks who routinely walk the track and inspect structure as well as track, and those protocols are in place.
Commissioner, the Notify NYC alert went out about 20 minutes, a little bit more after the earthquake. The deputy mayor was tweeting, the governor was tweeting at that point. So I guess why did that go out so much later than the actual earthquake?
The Notify message? I think 20 minutes time to target is pretty fast for public notification. First off, there's a lot of work we have to do to make sure we're getting confirmation from USGS that this was actually an earthquake, right? There's a lot of things that can cause buildings to shake. Two, we also need to make sure we're putting out the proper guidance. But 20 minutes is very, very fast for a public notification.
USGS USGS actually tweeted about 5 minutes after it happened, though. So again, where is that 15 minutes?
Well, in addition to that, they are confirming that there is a earthquake. Then there is also making sure that we're updating the guidance, right? In addition to that, with Notify, as you know, we put this out in 14 languages, including American Sign Language.
So then should the mayor and the governor not
Thank you.
So, Zach, maybe it would be helpful to say also if there's a difference between during an earthquake and after an earthquake.
Yeah, so there's also guidance that's different for both during an earthquake and after an earthquake, right? So during an earthquake, we want to make sure people are following the proper guidance, that they are staying inside a building, that they're getting under furniture while the earthquake is actually occurring. But then also we need to make sure we're putting out the right information so people know what to do afterwards, that they're taking the right precautions. You've heard some of that from our partners at Con Ed about gas leaks, about what to do if there are aftershocks, about whether or not you are informing people that they should be going about their normal course of business, or whether or not there is a high likelihood of aftershocks, right? So all of that needs to be confirmed to make sure we're getting the right information out to the public. That takes a little bit of time, but I think our team did a remarkable job today in getting it out to the public.
Commissioner, could you walk us through what the city's protocol is when you are suspecting an earthquake? What exactly happens?
Well, this is a no-notice event, right? So there's no suspecting an earthquake. A no-notice event, unlike a weather event.
What do you launch into once you say, hey, we think this is what
Yeah, so the first thing in any type of emergency, whether it's a notice or no-notice event, a no-notice one being, an explosion, an act of terrorism, a mass shooting, something that was not forecasted, unlike a weather event. But in these cases, the number one thing that you're looking at is, are there concerns that are life safety concerns, right? Are we getting an overwhelming number of 911 calls? Is the fire department, do we have collapsed buildings? Is there an emergency response that we need to immediately respond to? Number two is then checking in with all of our partners across the city to make sure that there are no cascading impacts that we also need to address. Are there things that, while there might not be life safety events, are there issues to our utilities? Are there issues to our transportation networks? About our schools? That was one of the number one concerns about making sure that everything is okay with our kids who are in schools today. Then the next piece of that is also, at the same time, getting information out to the public, making sure that it is the right guidance, given the circumstances, given the projections for what might come next. All of that is what the team is doing here, and coordinating with all of the incredible partners that you see behind us. Thank you.
Anyone, Mayor, and I don't know if this would be for a team member or not, but anyone using their cell phone in the last hour knows it's been difficult. We've heard your administration give the warnings about when to and when to not call 911. Is the 911 system getting a little overwhelmed right now, or are you worried about the cell phone towers?
As far as the 911 system is concerned and the 311 system, we've seen an uptick starting at 10:30 and it's subsided to its normal call volume by 11 a.m. Right now it stands at its normal call volume.
Any read on what's going on with the cell phone towers and any concerns about that?
One thing also I would just point out, we had an uptick in 311 calls. Obviously, we know there was an earthquake. Our teams are on the ground, so we don't need that anymore. Thank you very much to New Yorkers.